What's up guys, welcome back. Today we're taking a look at this MK12 Mod 1 build. This is a clone-ish build. Definitely nowhere near clone correct. What I like to call my modern MK12 Mod 1. This is a gun I built from stripped receivers. It has a Aero Precision stripped upper receiver and just a stripped unmarked Anderson lower receiver. By unmarked, I mean it just doesn't have the Anderson logo. If you're not familiar with the MK12, it's a receiver that was used by special operations during the GWOT era, the global war on terrorism. It was developed by Armalite, I think, or the idea was, and most of them were built by Colt. It was requested by soldiers to have something a little more capable than an M4, but shorter than an SR25. Your MK12 Mod O and Mod 1 both have 18-inch barrels. Of course, the Mod O came first and was built with PRI parts. This is a pretty good idea of what a MK12 Mod O looks like. Again, not an exact clone, but the difference between the Mod O and the Mod 1, the Mod O used PRI handguard and PRI flip up sights and used this continuous top rail, so you could use a low mount for your scope. And one of the best looking ARs I think that's ever been made. I love the look of the Mod O. They're fairly lightweight for an 18-inch rifle. Both guns will use the OpSync brake and collar, and both use a Douglas 18-inch barrel. Now, neither of mine have a Douglas barrel. This is a Palmetto State Armory MK12 Mod O. You can catch them in stock at PSA's website ever so often, and they're not priced too bad. This has been a very solid build. The only complaint I have, PSA ships it with a long collar, which is definitely not correct for the Mod O. The Mod O uses a shorter collar. With the long collar, you can't get enough rotations on the suppressor. I mean, I can get enough to get by with, but you only get like 3 rotations of the suppressor before it meets up with the taper back here. And it does work, but it's definitely not ideal. I have bought a short collar for this one. Unfortunately, whoever installed this collar at the factory stripped out the little Allen bolt, so I'm going to have to do a little more work to get those switched out. Now, I have heard of one guy that sent his back to PSA and they switched it out to the short collar for him. So I'm sure it's something they'll take care of. It's just not something I'm willing to do. I work on these guns a lot. I'm very familiar with it. I'll change that out myself when I get around to it. But this is the Mod O. Now I have a full video out on that PSA MK12 Mod O. If you're interested, just check out my channel. Today we're focusing on this Mod 1. Like I said, I built this on stripped receivers, so I handpicked every part that went in it and built this from the ground up myself. In the strip lower, I'm running a BCM parts kit with a Magpul bad lever. I run these on every single AR-15 that I own. It's a very useful tool that I've implemented in my training. That's why it's on all my builds. If you operate them correctly, they're perfectly safe. You'll hear some people that complain about it being in the handguard, but if you want to work it correctly, you never have to stick your finger in the handguard to use it. You just hold your finger on the outside, swipe up to lock the bolt back, swipe down to release the bolt. The trigger I'm running is a Geisley SSAE, very great trigger, very nice two-stage trigger. The MK12 Mod O and Mod 1 both fielded a Knights Armament two-stage trigger, so I wanted to stick to a two-stage trigger. It didn't necessarily have to be a Knights Armament two-stage trigger, and the Geisley's probably a better trigger anyway. For a grip, I'm running the B5. It's just a more vertical grip. It's just a better grip angle for me. Coming on up and back for this one, I chose to run the B5 SOP mod. The SOP mod stock is correct on MK12s. They were fielded with both a A1, a A2, and a SOP mod stock. Now, as you'll see in some of the shooting, it's not really great for shooting with a bag, but you can make it work. It does give you more adjustability as it works off of a M4 receiver extension. And I do enjoy the cheek weld you get off the B5 stock. For a charging handle, I'm running a Radian Raptor. Definitely not clone correct. I think, I know the MK12 Mod O used the PRI gas buster charging handle, and I think that carried over to the Mod 1 as well. Coming on up from there, I've just got a level attached, which just helps you know when the gun's level, which helps out in precision shooting, which I've kind of gotten a little bit into. Nowhere near good at it, but something that's caught my interest here lately. The optic I'm running is an Arkin SH4. This is their 4-16 power scope. Has a 50mm objective. Arkin scopes, they're a fantastic deal and very nice scopes for the money. For the money, I don't know how you could beat it. Very nice turrets, big turrets, very audible clicks, very positive clicks. The glass is very decent for the price point. And if you're looking for an affordable optic for precision shooting, check out Arkin. They make a very nice scope. The SH4 is a 34mm tube, and this scope's sitting in an Arkin rigid precision mount. It's their AR-15 scope mount. It's a cantilever mount. Works well, does the job. The rail I'm running is Midwest Industries quad rail. This is their combat rail. It does have a cage code on it of 6LQFO. So possibly a rail that gets used in the military. The rail panels, these are clone CAC rail panels. I can't remember what brand they are, but you can find them on Charlie's Custom Clones website, and they're about half or a quarter of the price of the CAC rails, and definitely serve the purpose. The original MK12 Mod 1 ran a CAC match RAS rail, which is extremely hard to find and extremely expensive when you do find one. So this certainly served the purpose for me with the Midwest Industries rail. The bipod I'm running is just a Magpul Picatinny bipod. Not the best bipod on the market, certainly not the worst. You know, again, it does the job. I can't remember the gas block. This is I think a Midwest Industries low profile gas block. I'm not for sure. But one of the standout features on the Mod 1 is the gas block sticks out just in front of the rail. It's one of the defining features. To pull that off, you just need a 12-inch rail and a barrel with a rifle length gas tube. The barrel I'm running is a Ballistic Advantage SPR barrel, 18 inches. Very decent barrel for the money. They guarantee sub MOA, and so far with decent ammo, I've definitely been able to get that 1 minute of angle accuracy out of it. Both the MK12 Mod O and the Mod 1 were designed around Mark 262 77 grain ammo, and like I said, this barrel shoots it very well. Another MK12 specific feature, of course, is the OpSync brake and collar. This is I picked up this brake and collar from Centurion Arms, and it is a pretty faithful copy of the original, and slid right on, mounted right up to this Ballistic Advantage rail. Centurion Arms also makes an SPR barrel, but it's a little more expensive than the Ballistic Advantage. The reason for the brake and collar is to mount the OpSync 12th model suppressor. That's what the MK12s were designed to mount. It was found that the OpSync 12th model suppressor provided the least shift in point of impact when it was mounted, and I'm sure was probably the best performing sound suppressor at the time. To be 100% clone correct, you would need that OpSync's 12th model suppressor, which is extremely difficult to find and is going to be extremely expensive. To substitute that, Ron Allen makes a suppressor. He was the original designer for the OpSync 12th model suppressor. When OpSync died out, Ron Allen started his own company and started building a faithful copy of the 12th model suppressor called the Allen Engineering AEM5. Now Allen Engineering is kind of tapering off how much product they put out. So this suppressor is an Otter Creek Labs OCM5. I do have a video detailing this suppressor. If you're interested in that, be sure to check it out. Very great performing suppressor. Provides fantastic sound suppression. The best 5.56 sound suppression that I've ever heard. And I, along with many, would argue probably the quietest 5.56 suppressor on the market. The way these mount up, of course I can't show on YouTube actually attaching the suppressor, but you would remove this thread protector and the suppressor would slide over the barrel until the outer threads met with the inner threads of the suppressor. You would begin to screw it on until the taper at the back of the suppressor met up with the taper on the collar. It provides a very good lockup, very good repeatable point of impact from unsuppressed to suppressed. I haven't had any problems with the suppressor backing off. That taper is a really great way to attach a suppressor. That's why on a lot of my builds you'll see I run Griffin taper mounts. I've never had one come loose during shooting, and if you want a good solid lockup on your suppressor, find something with tapers. With the suppressor attached, it doesn't add a whole lot of length. As you can see, a lot of that suppressor goes over the barrel, and you might be adding maybe 5 inches. And what that does for you, it gives you a very large blast chamber, which certainly helps in sound reduction. And with this Otter Creek suppressor, you're getting a modern baffle design, whereas the OpSync and the AEM5 from Allen Engineering uses kind of an older baffle design. I added both these MK12 builds to my collection in 2023. I've had my eye on Mod O for years and years. Probably should have just picked up the PRI rifle, but kept putting it off for some reason. And once Palmetto State Armory dropped the Mod O, I bought it instantly. And once I started down that road, I had to add a Mod 1 to my collection, so that's why I built this rifle. I did build this one more for my son. This is his gun. Like I said, I've always really liked the look of the Mark 12, both the Mod O and the Mod 1. They're historic rifles that have seen a lot of service with their military, and have a lot of collector value, especially if you can get a clone correct copy. But like I said, these guns aren't meant to be clone correct. These are for my enjoyment, my son's enjoyment, and it doesn't bother me in the least that it's not clone correct. So you'll get some people that are die-hard cloners, and I definitely respect those guys. I mean, they spend a lot of time and a lot of money making those guns 100% clone correct, or clone correct as possible. And it's a neat little project if you're looking for a side hobby or something, you know, scouring the internet for parts, and just the time and money you invest in a build. It can be a lot of fun if you have the funds available to do something like that. Alright guys, I just wanted to show you all this build. I'll show you some footage of when I filmed for this suppressor. I used this build, so I'll recycle that footage and show you this gun in action. Be sure to check out the description of this video. I have a link to my campsite page. There's a lot of websites on that campsite page. It's all to do with gun stuff. If you'll use those links, a lot of those sites, you'll save money. The discounts will be applied right off the top. As you're doing your shopping, you'll see a discounted price available to you. It doesn't cost you any money to use those websites, and it definitely helps the channel out, and I certainly appreciate it. I appreciate y'all watching this video. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and catch us on the next one.